Hello, thanks for tuning in and welcome to the pool party. I hope you can swim because we're definitely diving into the deep end with a huge splash of truth, facts, evidence, information, and proof. Swim. Say what you mean. It's talk about talking. How we listen, how we hear, how we speak, how we hear what we're listening to when we speak, how a listener hears what we're saying, if what we're saying, what they're actually hearing and or understanding. Is it clear? Swim. Say what you mean. Well, that's just the beginning of understanding, because after we get that understanding, how do we accept it? How we respond if it's not what we expect is paramount. Are you okay with the truth? Are you man, woman, human, or spiritual enough to accept the truth? Let's find out. Welcome to The Swimming Pool with your host, Travis Bridges.
Hey, what's happening, my friend? And welcome to another Wednesday with your host, Travis Bridges. That would be me in 3, 2, 1. How you doing, everybody? Welcome to the swimming pool. The swimming pool. What in the world is this guy talking about? The swimming pool? He's sitting in a studio. It's not like he's out by the pool, with people hanging out in bikinis and suntan and diving board and, maybe even a grill cooking. Well, this is a different kind of swimming. This is SWYM. It stands for Say What You Mean. It is an acronym. And I had to learn that a long time ago. I knew what it was. I thought it was a synonym, but then I learned it's an acronym for Say What You Mean. Anyway, guess what I don't have this week? I don't have a guest. And it was by design. I didn't have a guest because I didn't want to have a guest. Anthony Morrow is with me and Christine is with me. Those are all the guests that I need. Anyway, here's hoping you're having a wonderful Wednesday. And I do have a couple of topics. It's simply entitled Doing What I Do. Well, what is it that you're doing, buddy? I'm sitting in front of a camera in front of my studio. Normally in my studio, I write script, I do voiceovers, and I produce commercials mainly for radio. I learned that trade in radio back in about 1987. I took a job right while I was in college, right out of high school. I worked at the college campus, and I learned the basics of radio, and then it just took off from there. At one time, I was a radio announcer / DJ, and I had a lot of fun. I learned a lot in that trade. 10 years after that, I went back to college, and I got a degree in criminal justice because I was sure that I was being called to be an attorney, and I was on my way. Life happened, and I decided I would take a break. It wasn't long after that break that I said, nah, I think I've had enough. I've had enough of writing papers and, going to class, registration, buying books, and, writing stuff. I was just done with that. So I just continued, with my saxophone and, doing production on the side. And what do you know? Here I am, still here. But as of late, I've been doing something just a little bit different. I'm still playing my saxophone. It's what I do. It's one of my primary jobs. The other job, as I just mentioned, I like to write and I produce script, and I have a few clients that'll call me here and there, and it's definitely not like I wished it would be, not like it used to be, but definitely more work is on the way. I'm just believing that. And thank you in advance. By chance, if you need script or voiceovers, I'm your dude. I have colleagues also that can voice spots, and we kind of sort of work together. We help each other out. As a matter of fact, I did a spot a couple of weeks ago for a friend of mine, and she still hasn't paid me yet. But she says the check is in the mail, and she's always good for it. So With that being said, what is it that I'm doing? I believe that I have been alive enough and I've had quite a few experiences to the point that I believe I can be non-biased when it comes to listening, paying attention, hearing, analyzing, weighing, all of those things. And it's very hard to do, obviously, because we still have so many problems everywhere you look. And those problems, I am convinced, is because there is a severe lack of communication. Doesn't mean people are not talking, because people are always talking. They may be yelling, they may be screaming, but people are talking. But maybe, and I'll throw myself, maybe we're not communicating. I am convinced that communication or a lack of communication is the leading cause of any kind of disagreement or chaos. I don't care if it's in your home, if it's on your job, if it's, anywhere. I've asked many of my guests if they believe that there is an answer to every question and is there a solution to every problem. And I've had all but one say yes right off the bat. That one that didn't say it eventually did say yes after they were presented with enough information. And that's what this is about. When you don't understand something, it's important to not just walk away not understanding. Now, don't get me wrong. Not everybody has been blessed with the ability to communicate. Some people are very difficult to talk to, and I may have been one of them in my day and time. However, I don't give up easy. I don't give in easy, but giving in and giving up are kind of sort of two different things. So, kind of lost my train of thought because I was laughing at myself. But I think I'm going to get back to my point. It's important to communicate, to listen, to hear, pay attention, and you must be honest. There's so many different religions in the world, so many, hundreds, I believe, and nothing is wrong with that. Whatever people choose to believe in, that's fine. But we're all born with a conscience. You don't have to be a particular religion to know right from wrong, good from bad, good from evil. You just kind of sort of, I think it's called when you become the age of accountability. People just somehow know. But I believe what happens is that through life, we take on values of people that are around us in some kind of way, whether it's our parents or our caretakers or siblings, people in your neighborhood. We become influenced, whether it's by a particular religion, whether it's by music, style of clothing, you name it. We decide to look at what someone else is doing and say, okay, I think I can do that. I think that's cool. And before you know it, we're doing it. Very few people find that place of really thinking for themselves or ourselves and trusting and believing, based on our own investigation. The Bible says, study to show yourself approved. And I don't want to take that out of context, but I'm just going to, suggest that means, find out for yourself. Believe not because someone told you to, but because you had the encounter to trust and believe. And something doesn't have to be true or even factual for you to believe in it. That's what some religions call faith. I know in my religion, that's what they call it. So it's not about whether or not you so much know it's true or believe it. You just believe it because you just choose to believe it. And there's nothing wrong with that. particularly when it comes to religion. I guess that's why it's one of those subjects that people try to steer away from and don't get too involved in it. So if that's the case, fine, have your religion, believe in it for whatever reason you choose. But when it comes to everyday living, and we have situations that we need to reach the bottom of, let's throw that religious stuff out. I didn't say don't throw your faith out, or I didn't mean that didn't come out right. I don't mean throw religion out. Maybe your personal beliefs, keep your religion in. When it's time to analyze, if you've ever been, picked for jury, one of the requirements is that you're able to, govern yourself accordingly, not based on how you feel, what you think, or what you believe, but based on information and evidence that is presented. Many people get out of jury duty by saying, well, they can't do it. And for some reason, they are able to get off, by saying, their religious beliefs may or may not, allow them to, rule a certain way if they have to come down, to a particular decision. But anyway, I just want to talk about, if you find yourself in that situation and you're vexed, something is not settled, or, your husband, maybe your wife, you guys aren't getting along, you must find a way to talk. The worst thing you can do is isolate yourself. And I don't mind, is the devil's workshop. I somehow believe that. So with that being said, I'm going to move on to something that I heard. I'm just totally changing subjects. Since I'm by myself tonight, it's just me. This is therapy for me, and thank you for just, hanging out with me and being a part of it. But I've been taking yoga lately, and I hear different things from different instructors at different times when I'm meditating. And I heard something that I thought was interesting. So many things I heard, and too bad I didn't write them down. But what I can remember right now, one of the instructors was focusing on breathing. And she said something about wondering why our breath, we don't have to make any effort to breathe. That, okay, it happens naturally and normally, and we don't have to do anything. And then she said, you ever wonder, maybe you're not breathing on your own? And then she started to talk a little bit more. And of course, I heard her say something in regards to maybe the controller of the universe is just one big organism. I hope I'm using the right word. And because we are kind of all one, supposedly, maybe, that being is breathing, and we're just kind of in sync with it as one, and we don't have any control over it. It's just, we're just in sync with it. Just thought that was cool. My brain went 100 different places, and even if I did take up the whole hour, I wouldn't have the time to sit here and tell you what I thought about when I thought about something as simple as breathing in and breathing out. Of course, I'm conscious of it, but I don't believe I'm doing that on my own. It's just automatic. It's natural. But what's creating that? Anyway, I'll kind of get off of that. Next subject or topic is going to be, I'm going to talk about my own life. I've been through a lot. Everybody has a testimony of something that they've experienced. But me, myself, I did write a book, and I'm working on publishing it. And I hope, you guys get to check it out at some point in time, because it's interesting. I learned a lot about myself, and I know I'm talking about it. I did the same thing with my CD, and I'm still talking about my third CD the same way. It's one of those things that I may be procrastinating just a little bit on. But when I look over my life, I think of the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think of how, particularly in the bad times, how I remember just kind of going into myself, going into, I guess maybe that prayer moment, or that moment of what would you call it? That moment of meditation, and just praying, for lack of a better word, and just believing that everything is going to be okay. That's what we have a tendency to do. When we find ourselves in trouble, we want to pray to whatever we believe in and hope and wish and believe, for, brighter days. And as I look over my life and I look, particularly today, as I go through, some of the challenges that I have to face, I think of all the times whenever I was like really down and maybe even, in tears, that things eventually worked out because I'm still here. And I can't take that lightly, regardless of how tough things may get. If we're still here, we still have purpose and a reason. So you may be watching or listening to me right now. You may be doing well. If you're not, you may have just come out of something. Or if you keep living, you might be going into something, because we don't know what tomorrow or the future is. All we can do is do our best to be, as prepared as we can. But me personally, I recall falling on some tough times and literally being, delivered and getting through it. And as much as I want to give God credit, and I do, I'm grateful and thankful, I really am. I do know that the one role that I had to play had to do with my own determination and believing in myself and not giving up on myself. Man, it's hard. It really is tough sometimes, especially when you have to contend with mean people who are just evil by nature. I just don't understand that. I guess we all have a good, bad, and ugly side, but I won't get into that. But anyway, talking about going through and how I'm, still here and still have faith and believe in believing, and not giving up myself. Anyway, I have to call on that same energy, tonight as I sit here in front of my camera. What is today's date? July 27th? Yeah, and it's 9:16. I have to do what I've had to do many times, and that's be patient. Stay focused. Don't give up. Yeah, we may slip. Yeah, maybe we may find ourselves not believing at some times, but we have to pull ourselves together. It's not how many times you fall, but how many times you get up. So I'm kind of sort of like David, encouraging myself that I've got to hold on, I've got to be strong, and I've got to hang in there. I know I come in front of the camera and I'm all teeth, and sometimes I laugh, but I'm human. I struggle sometimes, and I go through things, and I need prayer, and I have to trust that, a brighter day is on the way. So yeah. What else was I going to talk about? Oh yeah. I have a new promo that I'm going to play, and I'm going to make some notes, when I play it. And I just want to address a couple things in one or two of those, and then I'm going to shut down and move on and mind my business. By the way, I am back playing again. I do have a gig, and it's happening on Thursday evenings in Coconut Creek. And if you'd like information on that, do me a favor, go to my website. It's travisbridges.com. I would be able to put it on the screen, but I'm going to put it on the screen right now with my own mouth. travisbridges.com, and then go to the events, and then you'll see it. And if you send me an email in time, I'll make special arrangements for you and make sure that you and your guest are taken care of. Thursday nights in Coconut Creek. And I say nights because it's, after 6, and that's evening time, but it's 6 to 8. And hopefully I'll see you there at some point in time. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to prepare the new promo that I have ready. It's simply entitled The Greatest Strength. And I didn't get any calls from any of my tech people. I did make some adjustments today with some technical stuff that I was having. And everything must be going well. So I'm going to play this promo, take notes, listen, And if you're in the chat, send me a message or an email or even call me. I'll leave my line open, 954-526-5991. Did you hear that? 954-526-5991. I'll leave it open. I'm not saying I'll answer it because, I am live and, I know some of y'all cousins, you be acting funky, but it's okay. I'm going to play the promo, hold the spot you got, take some notes. I'm going to be taking some. I'll be right back. Okay.
Your greatest strength. Challenges, adversity, and failure is where we find the greatest victories. Don't be discouraged by the look and feel of any loss, as our greatest strength is discovered in our worst weakness. People can judge you by what they see based on how they look at you. It's usually motivated by how they feel about themselves. And if it's negative, you'll never escape their thoughts. You can show them who you are by how you look at what's on the inside of you, which is motivated by how you feel about yourself. If it's positive, you are already free of their thoughts. An effective encounter with a mirror will always find truth. Time is not only money. Time is more change than money. Until we dig deep inside and face the true potential of ourselves, not even yourself can experience the truth of the fullness of your own destiny. The why of how we feel is the pathway to managing what we feel, and where we search to find it is the land of the free of who we find in ourselves. Repeat that 7 times. Don't be discouraged by the look and feel of any loss, as our greatest strength is discovered in our worst weakness. Hope activates faith. Dig deep and keep moving.
I thought that was rather cool. And of course, I wrote that some time ago, and I just decided to put some audio with it and some video and then just serve it up, as a gift. Nobody gives me any money for that. It's just, therapy for me, and I just decide I would share it. One thing I did hear, and I'm going to mention it right now, about there's strength in your weakness. Isn't it amazing how you get strength from being sad? Who would have ever thought that was possible? Man, that's your weakest time, but when you look back, that's when you gained strength. I'll never forget the Footprints poem. I remember hearing it as a little boy. It goes something like, God, where were you whenever I was struggling? And it's called Footprints in the Sand. And he says, those times where there was 2 sets of footprints, I was walking with you. When there was one, you thought I was gone, but I was carrying you. Man, that's deep. That's deep. Go on and admit it. That's deep. So if you analyze, that poem, Footprints in the Sand, and you believe in a or the supreme being, you have to know that someone is watching out for you. Whenever you're down and you don't feel like anyone is there, and then you come through, man, you were indeed being carried. I'm going to go ahead and take that. I wasn't expecting that, but this is about, doing what I do, and I'm encouraging myself. I also remember just now, I remember all of it, but what stood out just now was people judging you or having something to say about you. Can't remember who said it, but they said, your opinion of someone else is a reflection of yourself. Sometimes you can get that confused in thinking that, my opinion of you is I'm the same way. It's not the same thing. It's just like, in order for you to be able to see that in someone, you have to first know it and it be a reflection kind of sort of yourself. You can't come up with an opinion of someone else unless you can at least relate to it. So it is a reflection, not necessarily of your character. If you think someone is bad and then, okay, maybe you're bad too. Could mean that, but that's not the point. But usually people that's judging someone, especially negatively and or falsely, it's usually a reflection of themselves. And poor innocent people, are like, well, what did I do? And you don't have to do anything. One of my bosses told me a long time ago, he said, if you have to ask that question, chances are you didn't do anything. And it's okay. People are going to do what they're going to do. And that's one thing you can't do unless you have a gun. And that's illegal. You can't force people to do anything. And that's not force. That's bullying. That's why it's against the law. You can try to encourage people, but that's another thing within itself. But people are going to think the way they think based on, their own history, their own background. But I am convinced that as bad as sometimes, people show themselves, I really believe there is good in everyone. That's why I have a very low revenge, what do you call it? I'm not one for, big on revenge. Doesn't mean I'm going to, be a pushover in any kind of way. I just believe that when people are really acting out of character and, acting like the devil, so to speak, they're not in their right mind. They're not focused. So I have to be the one, to have a level of compassion, for people who do stuff like that right there. Anyway, oh yeah, that's it. I'm going to play another one in a few minutes, and then I'm going to get some feedback on that. Wow, I'm 26 minutes already. I'm running my mouth pretty good. What I'm going to do, let me stop this, and then I'll play the other one, and then I'll let y'all go. You've heard this one before, but I'm going to let it run, and then I'll be back, okay? So don't move, baby.
The gain of a loss. There are no losses, only opportunities to learn and grow. To promote the idea that we lose when a clock stops personally or professionally is certainly a loss for a mind that thinks, feels, or believes as such. It's because of a lack of knowledge that we suffer unnecessarily. Just as it is better to give than to receive, the opportunity to move on from a situation that either no longer shares the same interests or that you discover irreconcilable is not a loss at all, but an opportunity to become a better you. No glass is half empty or half full. However, there could be an opportunity for less water or more glass. How about more vessels in general? No? Perception may not always be reality, but it can change the quality of our lives. Can we actually see what we're looking at? Or does thoughts, feelings, and beliefs blindly strong-arm truth? The gain of a loss. There are no losses, only opportunities to learn and to grow. And that's true. Hopefully you believe that. Sometimes when we're without something or we don't have something, yeah, we may not have it, that, or maybe even that person or those people anymore. Could be a job, could be a home, or could be a neighborhood, could be a geographical region. No, we don't have that anymore, but we have an experience that we can build on.
And it's tough, man. That's why I believe we need to be there for each other, because when we're in the middle of something, it's hard to encourage yourself. We need to be there for each other. And although I'm kind of a loner, so to speak, I know for sure I do have a couple of good friends that I do believe in my heart that loves me sincerely and cares about me genuinely. And if you are one of those 2 or 3 people, let me be the one to say thank you live. You know who you is. So thank you for my friends that love me and care about me genuinely. I appreciate it. Anyway, that promo was kind of, self-explanatory. It spoke for itself. And I'm just going to move on from here, and I'm going to let you go early and let myself go, because I have a couple of things that I want to do. That being said, stay strong. Keep your head up. Remember, if you think and feel you're losing, you might be. But change the way you look at things, and the way you look at things will change. It's an opportunity for you to gain and get something from it. Just because something is taken away doesn't mean it's a loss. Promise you that. This image just came to my head. If your boat is sinking and you're taking the water out, you're taking it out, but look at how you're gaining. Especially if you've plugged the hole up and you want to get that water out. Maybe not the best analogy, but imagine it in your head for a moment. Anyway, have yourself a wonderful rest of the week. Do indeed check out my website, travisbridges.com. Scroll down to the events part, and then join me tomorrow and however many more Thursdays I'll be there from 6 till 8 for they have a buy one get one. When have you heard that? You buy one entree or dinner, and then you get one at no cost. And it really is true. They didn't raise the price like some places you go in, they say it's a BOGO, and the one price is the price of two, maybe minus a penny. That's not this case. I already scoped them out. They're actually really giving away a freebie. So go to my website, travisbridges.com, and hang out with me mañana noche. Okay? It's 9:31. I like I'm on the radio now, telling the time like you got somewhere to be. Thank you, Tony Morrow. Thank you, Christine, for hanging out. And anybody else that will watch this. Oh, by the way, I got a new subscriber. I posted one of my promos into one of the pages, one of my favorite pages in social media. And some guy said, "Whoa, man, I really like that. And you just picked up a new sub." I can't remember his name now. Maybe I should, and I probably don't want to call people's names. I pride myself in, not focusing on names. But to the guy who's my new subscriber this week, you are subscriber 555. I remember when I got 100 when I was doing the COVID concert series. I thought I was something. Imagine when I get 1,000 or 10,000 or maybe even 1,000,000. I'm believing that because in closing, I'm doing what I do. I am convinced that although I'm not a doctor or a lawyer or a therapist or a psychologist, and there's nothing wrong, with those titles or those degrees or those studies, but there are a lot of people that are in the business that don't have those credentials, and they're top speakers right now. Steve Harvey talks all the time, about not having an education and still being fortunate, to operate in many capacities, in society without having a degree. So not that I'm trying to take the shortcut. I've got a degree in experience. And I do believe I can listen, I can hear, I can analyze. I used to say as an attorney, if I became an attorney, man, I believe life is, so transparent that you could really argue both sides of any story because everybody has a point to make. And that's the thing about getting to the bottom. There's someone else's point, and then there's the other person's point, and then there's, I don't want to say it's the truth, or there is what actually happened, because everybody has a story that's made up of who knows what. But then listening, hearing, paying attention will definitely help you get to the bottom of any situation, especially if you run it through the filters that I like to talk about: universal principles, points of references, as well as, law. We can't, break the law. But by the way, if you, find yourself in one of those situations, remember, this is something I want to capitalize on. You may not always get what you want. How's the song go? But you get what you need. Let me sing that for you. You can't always get what you want. You can't always get what you want, but you get what you need. Man, that'll preach by itself. You're not going to always get what you want, when you're trying to settle a situation, but you do get what you need. And that's that gain of a loss that we were talking about. See how that kind of sort of came together. All right. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead again and let y'all go for the last time this evening. I'll catch you next week, and I will have a guest next week and a new topic and a subject, and we'll talk about something good. Okay? With that being said, again, thank you, Anthony Morrow. Thank you, Christine. Thank you for the other 4 people that are hanging out with me, and the rest of you that will watch later in the week and later in life. I'm going to leave these up here. Again, I don't know what's going to happen. As for now, I'm going to continue to do this every week because it's the therapy I need, even if I am talking to myself. I've learned how to live stream. I've got cameras in my studio. It's cool. Let's see if I can show you the rest of my room here real quick before I go. This is going to be camera number 2. Where's camera number 2? Is it over here? What did I do? Yeah, this is my other camera. When I'm doing other live streams, I do set them up. And this is going to be camera number 3 over here. You can see how I got some stuff laid out in here. But anyway, I'm going to go back to my main camera, and I'll be here. This is what I'm doing these days. I'm writing script. I'm voicing spots, and I'm editing. I'm getting pretty good, with the video stuff too. So with that being said, I'm going to stop rattling. I'm going to let you go. Thoughts, minds, heart are clear. We used to say, may the Lord watch between me and thee. You know how that goes. But anyway, let me go ahead and close this. Anyway, have a good night. Find somebody you need to say I love you to. Don't say it. And if you do say it, also show it. Okay? Till next week, I love you. Good night. Well, I didn't mean to blow that kiss to everybody. Kind of feel weird. I was going to tell you about something else that just made me laugh, but I'm going to go ahead and go. I'll tell you next week. Good night.
SWYM. Say what you mean. As much as this information is designed to bring awareness to how we listen, hear, and process, it is also a form of therapy. The little person inside of all of us needs to be heard. As adults, even listening to ourselves is a form of healing, strengthening, and growth. It's okay to speak, talk, express yourself, and be heard, even if you're the only listener. If our testimony does anything at all for anyone else, that makes the continued effort worth the time. Get the words out. You'll feel better, and that's a promise. Thanks for tuning in. We really appreciate it.
Sometimes it seems like all the good times are gone. But you got to keep on searching. You got to keep on keeping on. Keep on keeping on. For example, take me standing right here today. I would not be here with you if I believed the things that the people say. You got to keep on searching. Keep on searching. Keep it on the cool side. Keep it on the cool side. Keep on